Okay, before going into the video, I just wanted to clarify something that bringing out the luminous quality of the sky or the vibrance, making this area appear more vibrant or glowing is a result of matching it with its complementary color, but also a toned down version of that complementary color that isn't as vibrant. So, and then also introducing a term called a split complement, where rather than going just directly across, you come out and then you branch off. So you've got either, the direct complement. This is the split complement of a yellow orange, and I've gone more like a turquoisey blue green, and then with the red violet. So you've got a few mixes of colors in there, but they're toned down, so they're not really challenging the yellow back there. They're working in conjunction with it, and then when the color overlaps, it doesn't make a very gray tone. It still has a little bit of luminosity on its own. So I hope that clarifies, and then now I'm going to roll on to the video. Thanks. Put up the reference photo and then show you that. And on this one, I'm going to go in with just a little bit of green and blue and red violet and kind of carve that out in there. And then I've got to figure out from my value study, I'm going to darken this side, leave that side as is, darken that side, darken that side. So basically everything on here is kind of an overlay on this. It's not going to obviously be gray, but so I'll sketch all that in, and then this one is really emerging from the fog, and I want to keep as much of this radiance and vibrance as I can in the background, and keeping this focused on the diagonal and having the detail, I should say contrast, not necessarily detail. The contrast, the values are what's going to bring it out. The tones that I paint over this will be transparent and fairly neutral. I mean, a neutral-ish green, a neutral-ish blue. It'll still have some of those characteristics. And then obviously as I get out here towards the edges, I might not even do anything because it's not going to create a highlight. So everything I'm doing is obviously putting it down slightly darker. So I want to make sure that I'm carving this out and helping it emerge from the fog. So I'm going to mix up a few colors and get started. So in this part, you see me cutting around the temple using just a slightly darker green and yellow, just to bring out the structure itself. There's some ornamental work on the top of this pagoda, whatever the technical term for this structure is. And then as I go out towards the edge of the trees, I let that edge that's already there help define the glow. But I'm using a mixture of muted tones, like a muted green or violet, to not compete with the brightness, which isn't super bright, of the yellow in the sky, showing the sun coming through the atmosphere. I want to make sure that that warmth is contrasted by these muted tones in the trees. Now I've put up the value study again, it's hard to depict in here since I didn't do it as a no tan black and white, but the edges of the temple pagoda show either a hard edge to cut in and create that negative shape, or for instance, there's an area where in between the legs that are supporting the pagoda is very dark, and then one side of the leg of the pagoda is dark, and then one side is somewhat light. So using that value study to not overthink things, similar to how Andy Evenson shows his value study as he's painting. And if he gets a little off track or starts getting too much in the muck, you can always refer to that and lay down a darker outline. In this particular, what is technically a color study for a future painting, in this, I did actually use white later on down the road, but as far as right now goes, we're just cutting in. Uh, the base tone is what was laid down in the initial wash, and then there's a mid tone to darken that outer leg, and then a darker tone for the area of optical occlusion, where there's really no light getting transmitted underneath the temple itself. As we come towards the end of this, I wanted to thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm enlarging the photo of the bottom of the painting. I didn't record this part where I didn't like the way that the bottom of the painting just was kind of had an end with all these sharp edges. So I went in afterwards with some white gouache and a little bit of color and just created the illusion of the uh, pool isn't the right term. This little man-made pond is that's part of this facility. I just wanted to put that in as a hint, so I allowed the pencil lines to still show through, but then filled it in with a little bit of color and just to kind of create like there's a little bit of a that misty morning fog. So again, that's the end of this one. This is a more of a color study than anything else. Later down the road, I'll do another piece of this. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.